Sound rolling. Start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Today we are having a podcast on extraterrestrials and everything about them, like what would they be like, or who they are, or whether they are there or they're not there, or are we alone? So let's begin.
So, way back in 1977, NASA, dealing with similar set of questions, decided to send a space traveling probe that was supposed to travel to the unknown depths of our universe, or whatever little we knew about it back then. They named it Voyager. Somewhere in the back of their minds, they were really hoping that they would finally get an answer to the age old burning question: are we alone? And if there indeed was or is anyone out there, how do we communicate with them? Hence, the engineers came up with an idea of recording sounds and images of Earth onto two golden discs, one of which you can see on the screen right now, which, if discovered by someone out there, would help them get familiarized with us. And this would only happen if that someone else was equally or superior in intelligence. But why this fascination about finding out if there really exists any other intelligent enough civilization or species out there? Humankind, as we all know, since eternity, especially after we tamed fire, has been consistently rewarded for its inherently curious nature. Men and women have never ceased to be pioneers. Exploring things and breaking boundaries to conquer new territories is in our very DNA. I hope you agree with that.
Yes.
Libido dominandi, as they say in Latin. Every one of us who grew up watching movies and binging on TV shows has had this unwavering urge to find out how would aliens look like, and if there ever was a contact between them and us, what language would they speak? Well, if you were a Hollywood movies fan, that language would definitely seem to be phonetic. But no one knows for sure. Also, what else no one knows is how they would look like. If one has to look at the image that is depicted here on this screen, this is what most of us think aliens would look like. Do you agree, Julian?
Oh, he looks handsome. According to me, he looks quite dashing. Nice color on his face and all that. In popular culture, most of the people think the first thing that comes to their mind when we hear alien or from the movies, feel someone like a humanoid shape with two eyes and a neck and a head kind of a thing. Pretty cool.
Well, most of us almost assume that aliens may look like us but not look like us, as in they would have hands, limbs, and a mouth to feed their bodies. So that is what people in Hollywood movies depict like. But then we are not really sure about what their actual appearance may be like. They could be microscopic,
Yeah,
they could be huge,
yeah,
they
yeah.
could be, you know, they could be something that we are not familiar with already. So there is hardly any real proof or real data on which a lot of us could agree upon uh, as how the aliens would look like. So
It might be like an octopus also,
could be,
like in the movie Arrival.
could be, and they could be eating each other. They could be, cannibals
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Like we never know, and we have no real idea about uh, if there exists a civilization similar to us or a much superior civilization to us out there. But can you just tell me as to what are the conditions or the criteria or kind of environment wherein such a civilization may exist, or what are these? There has to be some uh, suitable condition for such a civilization to live and thrive. So can you
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
throw a little bit of light on that?
So there's a term for this. It's called the Goldilocks zone. and it is a habitable zone. Like the habitable zone around a star is designated as the Goldilocks zone. Our Earth falls into the Goldilocks zone, and hence we observe life, the phenomena of life on Earth. So similarly, in extra terrestrial planets or in an extraterrestrial zone, if there is a planet, the probability of life evolving on that planet is much higher than the zone other than the Goldilocks zone.
So what you're telling is, for life to exist, there needs to be some source of energy.
Yes, definitely.
And for us, that energy we derive from sun.
Yes.
And whatever we know of is basically, photosynthesis is the basic process through which food is created.
Yes,
Basically, the plants produce their food through photosynthesis and exhale oxygen in that process.
Indirectly or directly, each and every life form derives its existence or owes its existence to the sun.
To the sun.
And even fungi or even bacteria in the thermal vents of the oceans and all those kind of
So
things.
God forbid, if the sun didn't exist, we won't exist.
Yeah, that is
so that
obvious.
is what you're telling.
Yes.
When you say that there is this Goldilocks zone, so that is what you mean by
Yes.
Goldilocks zone.
Yes.
So you need to be in some amount of proximity to a source of energy,
Yes.
which is not too far away from the source of energy and which is not too close to the source of energy.
And the source of energy also should be a certain amount only. It cannot be very big star or very small star.
Okay. So that star is basically which makes the planet revolve around it due to gravity.
Yeah.
And through which, so is there like some limit to the amount of revolutions a planet can have or whatever it is? Or it's just that if you can survive in a Goldilocks zone, it is possible that life can exist.
Yes, possibility increases exponentially.
Okay. So if there ever was a society or a civilization or a superior species out there, can we think about them from an anthropological point of view?
Yes, definitely.
So what do you think, do you think they communicate like what we humans have been doing for a long time with each other? And I'm sure a lot of animals also communicate with each other. The thing is, our understanding of their communication is very limited as of today. So can you tell me a little bit of what is there on the screen right now? What is this tabloid or this tablet looking like? It's a stone or something?
This is the Egyptian artifact, which is popularly known as the Rosetta Stone. If I'm not mistaken, on the Rosetta Stone there's inscriptions depicting different writings in different languages. It was kind of a keystone to decipher many of the ancient texts. So it is very popular.
So this thing belongs to the Egyptian civilization, is what you're saying?
I am not sure.
Or even before that?
I am not sure which civilization it belongs to, but it is a very important artifact, and it helped the linguists or the archaeologists decipher and understand much more of our history.
So this is a source of history to us, and this was a source of communication to the people who actually wrote on this.
Yes.
They wanted to convey a certain points, maybe about their civilization, about their society, to whoever was reading it in that time as well as possible future.
Yes.
So the golden disc that we have, humankind has sent along with the Voyager, will play a similar role.
Yes.
If accessed by, if there exists someone else.
It's like a time capsule.
It's like a time capsule. So you never know. The Voyagers, there are 2 Voyagers, if I'm not wrong, that percent. And they have been traveling and they have almost reached the end of our
solar system. And Voyager has escaped. Voyager 1 has escaped our solar system.
It has escaped. So communication, if we have to think about as to how the aliens would communicate, like either it could be phonetic or
dance.
Dance.
I was watching David Attenborough, no?
Mm-hmm.
David Attenborough's Birds of Paradise, and when they are mating, the birds dance so beautifully.
It's a lovely video. I've watched that as well.
So the aliens might be engaging in such displays of courtship and all
Definitely.
if they are male and female.
Definitely.
And maybe like an octopus or jellyfish, they might or they they communicate through color, visual,
Could
something
be.
through visual.
I am mostly hoping or rather expecting that this is something they follow to communicate, because it would be such a visual delight to
Yeah.
even look at such a stuff. But then I'm not sure. No one can really see that such a thing would happen. But then I'm sure if there actually exists a species, they definitely communicate with each other. And
Yes.
as you're saying, it could be either phonetic or through dance and
Dance.
through visual
Yes.
signs.
Yes. Yes.
So definitely, if not that, is there something else which you can think about on the lines of communication which you think could be a possibility?
We
Like through sounds?
Yes, through sound,
Through sounds of frequency which are
like the
not,
whales,
yeah, like the whales do, and whatever,
dolphins.
dolphins. But that's again phonetic.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I'm talking about sounds of those frequencies which are not audible to the human ear,
Okay, like the elephants.
like the elephants.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
there are so many insects who do that.
Oh, crickets,
Crickets.
grasshoppers, locusts.
So there is no, I mean, there could be anything. We have very limited
Yeah,
idea about it.
and imaginations can run wild.
So if they are communicating with each other, what do you think they are communicating about, apart from obviously having a reproductive relationship or whatever? What else?
Would it be too much to say that the plants communicate to us through color and flowers?
Definitely. I mean, like
It's much possible.
It's
Very possible.
definitely
Because the fruits are colorful, and then when we see color, we are attracted to certain things. So maybe it is a form of communication. Maybe they communicate over a period of years, or maybe even centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, humankind, as we all know, may have started communicating with each other as apes,
Yes, yes.
and over the time, speech evolved,
Hmm.
and it basically helped that man tamed fire, and conquered fire, and learned to domesticate fire,
Hmm.
because the time after the time he learned to domesticate fire, he could cook his food, if I'm
Hmm.
not wrong.
Yes, yes.
And the amount of energy that went into digesting raw food compared to the amount of energy that went into digesting cooked food
Hmm.
made a huge difference to man's thinking capabilities,
Okay.
because that excess energy that was being taken by your intestine
Okay.
now could be taken up by your brain,
Okay.
and that helped for humans and man as we know today to
Hmm.
grow intellectually and gain those cognitive qualities. So when you think about such things from an alien perspective, would there be a possibility of fire?
Yes, yes. Why not? If there is oxygen, there
But
must be
then
fire.
we don't know if they survive on oxygen, or
Oh.
we don't know if they survive on methane,
Oh.
or nitrogen. So there is so much there is no limit to the number of possibilities that could
Yes,
actually
yes.
happen. But then I just think
If there is heat, then
yeah.
there can be cooking.
Definitely. So coming to the food part, humans basically started settling down after they ended up discovering how to cultivate.
Yes.
Agriculture was a big revolution for the humankind. So can you just tell me whatever you know about how humans started to cultivate and kind of evolved as a civilization in different places?
Maybe the prehistoric man observed that how the grain is growing beside the river. Maybe perennially it is growing because of the availability of water. And he thought to himself, what if I scatter seed and settle down and wait for the grain to ripen, and then I can harvest the grain, and then I don't have to depend on the seasons for my food.
Also, he thought that he won't be able. He should like the amount of danger that was involved in hunting and
Yes,
gathering.
in hunting.
So that kind of the risk came down, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
and that also helped him to increase his numbers.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. A settled life changed the sociology of humankind, no?
Yes, yes, definitely. So food cannot, I mean, like, it has to be your settled point of any
Yes,
civilization.
yes, yes.
So if there exists an alien civilization,
Their whole ethos will be revolving around their food
food.
only.
But then again, what kind of food?
Yes, yes. That will be. Do they use salt? I would wonder.
Or they just inhale
Yes.
gases and
Yeah, yeah,
reproduce.
yeah, yeah.
So there can, I mean, like,
Who knows what? And it is so exciting. And nowadays, telescopes are becoming more and more complex. And who knows what we might
we have
discover.
a recent James Webb telescope that
Mm.
went up into the
Yeah.
skies. Basically, that telescope is trying to learn about our own origin. But
Yes.
then you never know, while learning our origin,
Yeah, we might learn
you
something.
end up finding out someone else's
Yeah,
origin as
yeah.
well. So many exciting things that are happening in the world as of today. But then, when you're eating enough, you feel hungry. Obviously, that's why you eat.
Yeah.
But then you're hungry of, I mean, like, the hunger you have is also of different things as well. That comes, that makes me think about how do aliens reproduce.
Okay.
Because if we look at the life on this planet Earth and its origin, we kind of know that life originated to cyanobacteria.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how, cyanobacteria took help of water through which they could access few gases, and they created oxygen,
Yeah, yeah.
which eventually led to the proliferation of oxygen throughout our planet, and that is how life came up.
Yeah.
When you think about aliens, you cannot for sure say that they use oxygen
Yeah.
for their survival.
Yeah.
So, what could be the possibility according to you? This is just
Yeah.
wild guesses you can make.
Some people say that high stress in the lakes, sulfur lakes, and all gave rise to, like, during the daytime the temperature was too high, and during the night it was too less. And then some people say because of lightning strikes. Some people say because of the ultraviolet radiation, the presence of water. You don't know what led to the formation of life on Earth. And maybe entropy. Speaking of entropy, what is the probability in all these millions of billions of years that those molecules would come together and form, or would form complex DNA, or as you say. So it is very interesting what might happen on some other planet millions of billions of trillions of light years away. Uh, how life would form, and
Because as we know, there is something called cell division that happens
yes,
in unicellular organisms.
yes, yes,
Amoeba does such a reproductive, I mean, like, it reproduces literally by cutting itself into half, and the
yeah,
other half is a new
yeah,
organism altogether.
yeah,
So imagine aliens, reproducing in such a manner.
yeah,
Could be a possibility, right?
yeah, yeah,
And aliens could also be unicellular organisms.
yeah.
It's not.
Maybe some of the reptiles, they grow appendages, no, if they're
Yes,
injured.
yes, yes.
Maybe the aliens are like that way.
Maybe the appendage itself is a new being altogether.
Yeah, yeah. And mushrooms, how mushrooms reproduce through spores. I don't know if the aliens are that way. Or maybe the alien is a mushroom.
At times, I even think that there are so many species yet to be discovered on our planet itself.
Yes, yes.
So, are those species alien to us in a sense?
Yes. It, imagine the thrill of discovering a new species and naming a new species, and studying it, like what is morphology, genesis, its reproduction, its food habits, and that thrill, that thrill involved in doing that science is amazing, no?
But then, these are species which may be, okay with us discovering them.
Yeah.
But do you think there could be a possibility of an alien species on our planet itself which knows about our existence but is very sure that we don't know about their existence and has been continuously evading from being discovered?
There was an episode in Doctor Who, exactly what you have described. It was portrayed in that episode. I don't want to give any spoilers to you guys, but if you are hearing this or watching this podcast, you might as well check on Doctor Who. It's a fantastic. It's not. This is not a promotional thing. It's a fantastic TV show, and it has got a great fan following. It's wonderful. You can check it out.
So there could be a possibility is what you're talking about. Even
Yes,
like
yes.
Doctor Who thought about it.
Yes, yes.
So are these? I mean, I cannot say people for them, but are these the things or organisms who actually fly UFOs out there? You never know.
So there is a huge subculture, underculture of this UFO sightings and UFO chasers and all. So I do not follow this, but
From whatever little I've read about this phenomena is people try and explain these things, and when people actually study this phenomena, they say that it's mostly a visual phenomena,
uh-huh.
depending upon light, refracting or interfering with something,
Okay,
which comes out to be, in a disc kind of a shape, and you
Uh-huh.
end up thinking that it's a UFO.
okay, okay.
So when I'm talking about aliens, it's not only any species or civilization that exists somewhere out there. I mean, like millions of billions of whatever light years away, but could also be a species that is thriving on this planet itself,
They're in the core of the earth.
core of the earth or whatever underwater, or could be a even superior intelligent species than us.
Like like I'm coming back again to mushroom brain. There's an organism, okay, in some one of the forests in America. It is the largest organism on Earth.
Okay,
It is a mushroom.
okay.
It's
Oh,
the mycelium is so huge.
yeah.
So
I've
I
heard of this. I've
just
read something.
just
It
recently.
just keeps spreading.
Yeah, yeah.
Could be.
And the Japanese scientists, when they were finding a best route for their trains, they put a fungus on the s- slide or whatever
Mm-hmm.
when they grow, and the fungus found the best route. It grew. They put oats on their stations.
So this is like fungus and humans having a symbiotic relationship. Yeah.
Something like Spider-Man.
Yeah, like we are depending on them,
Yeah.
so we are gaining out of it.
Yeah.
It's like corals and zooxanthellae.
I don't know about that.
Corals basically thrive on zooxanthellae's food producing capacity. And that is
Okay.
how they grow.
Okay.
Except from building calcareous rocks beneath them. But then the amount of possibilities, and science as we know is not very old. I mean, like science as a discipline has been there for a long time. But then even humanity as we know is not that we are not very old species. It's
Yeah.
only a few thousand years old.
Yes, yes.
species.
We are infants in
We
the
are very infants.
Earth family.
Because in the amount of time that we have spent on this planet and the amount of scientific advancement that has taken place, it's mostly in the last 100 years.
Yes, yes.
Yes, things went exponentially up in terms of discoveries and inventions that have happened in the last 100 years. But then 100 years is too small a time to determine or to, give a conclusion kind of a thing upon whatever happens in Earth. Because our discoveries and our capacities are still limited in that extent that we have yet to explore much more than what we have already explored. So when I think about aliens, yes, definitely there could be some alien civilization which is completely thriving on a different planet or a different galaxy altogether. But then I also think about a lot of species that exist on this planet and which are alien to us. And then, as I said, there could be a species which is trying to evade from being discovered. So,
Like imagine the first time someone looked into a microscope and found those microscopic organisms. He
Yeah.
might be one. Whoa! He might have said, "These people also exist."
so that was quite alien to them.
Yeah. And the first time someone found a virus.
Pretty much an alien thing to
Yeah.
be, if you will. So there could be a lot of possibilities to their reproduction. So if they're reproducing, they may be having families.
Yes.
They may be having societies.
Yes. Yes.
They may be having apartments. Not like conventional sense, but then you never know. So if they have a society, there must be a way to the society.
Yes.
What do you think? Will they be like, you know, uh, working like the bees? Can you just tell us what you know about the bee society and how bees cooperate and live?
Uh, the bee is a very sophisticated organism or insect. It the the memory of a single bee is it's like short memory, but the memory of the hive is more than that of a single bee.
Mm-hmm.
Means the hive exhibits a mind of its own,
Okay.
and when the hive migrates from one place to another place, the worker it's some workers go first of the hive, and then they scout for new locations. And when the hive swarms, it displays. It's like many people dancing, like that Chinese video
Mm-hmm.
of many people dancing together, na
Mm-hmm.
something like
So
that
it's
way.
so if I may quote a sociologist here, like
Yes.
Emile Durkheim, who talks about collective effervescence, wherein he talks about how he's basically studied tribes and tribal societies in Australia, basically. So he came up with this concept of how religion came up.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, he talks about how people dance together and how people vibe together and they get into some kind of trance,
Mm-hmm.
which he calls collective effervescence.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you talk about bees, can you relate collective effervescence with their behavior a little bit?
Yes, because the hive as a it is kind of a super organism.
Mm-hmm.
Even the ants display certain behavior like the bees,
Mm-hmm.
and even humans, for that matter, we form nations and societies and tribes. So uh, we our collective behavior is different from our individual behavior, and our society has different characteristics which may not you may not look at an individual and identify or associate that characteristic with the individual, but as he or she is part of a society, and that society you might associate that trait or characteristic with that tribe or the society or that collective body of people.
Mm-hmm. So, if you're talking about a collective body of people or collective body of species, bees, or a collective body of alien species,
aliens
so do
aliens
you think there must be some amount of cooperation amongst them?
Yes,
And
there has to be cooperation
and if
for.
there is cooperation, there must be conflict as well.
Yes, yes.
So, what do you think could be the kind of conflicts an alien civilization would have? Will it be similar to what we have today? Like, is religion part of their society?
Or
Do they worship gods?
or do they have weapons?
Or do they marry each other? Or
Okay.
what kind of marriages do they have?
Yeah, or
It is like endogamous or polygamous or
oh,
like monogamous or what? Like, what do you think? Like, there could be any possibility. It's just about what you think and if you want to convey something on that.
if alien species has to be successful and colonize the planets or the galaxy, I think marriage would be a very requisite thing for the species to succeed.
Because that kind of strengthens your kinship bonds.
Yes, yes. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And for a society to succeed, there has to be rule of law,
Mm-hmm.
order, and all. So they might have some intergalactic police or
Police.
or something like that way, or
Do they have these exams, entrance exams for their police recruitment, like we have here in India?
they must be having some kind of rite of passage.
Do they have coaching classes?
Yeah, rite of passage they must be having, na? Like how we have rite of passage in our tribal societies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that they must be having, like for a youngling to become an adult. So some kind of ritual or something like that.
So if all these things exist, there must be some certain way to how the economy works as well.
Yes.
And if their economy works in certain way, do they own properties there?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. The notion of property, whether now, I heard some famous celebrities say that we on Earth we can only own what we can grasp in our palms.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the aliens are altruistic beings.
Okay.
Maybe they may be selfish beings. You can't say for
What
sure.
do you think?
I would
And
want them to be altruistic.
do you think an alien society would be an egalitarian society, or like, or a society like we have today?
If they have to colonize the galaxy, they have to be egalitarian.
But then isn't egalitarianism a kind of an utopia?
I do not. I
Let's come to this point. Does equality and the feeling of being, everyone is equal, it sounds great as an idea to me, but
Yeah.
then does these kind of things really exist in real life? Do people
Yeah,
follow
perfection.
these things?
You can chase perfection, but then perfection should not be the enemy of the good.
So you're telling me if it's an egalitarian society, there would be communes in their society?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there it would be mostly a communist society is what you're talking about.
Karl Marx, E.T.
Could be, Karl Marx, if you think about Karl Marx and then the kind of things he has said, we have taken a little bit of Karl Marx. I mean, like, we have taken a lot of Karl Marx into our understanding of how the society works, and you could very well extend that to an alien society. Because if you're talking about Karl Marx, will there be a proletariat class of aliens who are being, exploited by the bourgeois, alien bourgeois? So there is no limit to your thinking.
Yes, yes.
But I somehow believe that if there is a civilization which is equally superior or equally intelligent, or even equally intelligent or superior than ours, there has to be some amount of conflict. And if conflict exists, it's mostly between two classes or more than two classes. And when the classes come, the classes develop in such a way in on our planet, if you think of the humankind, classes develop because one class learned how to appropriate profits at the cost of the other, and that is how one class came to dominate the others. So if I'm talking from a alien point of view, and if you're saying that there are societies of aliens and there are people owning properties and all, there has to be some amount of conflict, and if conflict is there, there will be classes in an alien society. So there may be an alien Karl Marx as well. So you really don't know. But then this is all we can, only imagine. Is there anything else you would like to talk about on alien sociology or their society, or
I would only wonder if what is their notion of money? Like how do they exchange their goods, their trade, their commerce, their industry, how it works? Whether they have totems, iconography, like
whether they have credit cards, whether they have banks.
banks. Oh, that would be a whole different discussion. Okay.
We started off with barter system.
Yeah.
So I am kind of hoping they have this barter system with them. Maybe they could be even trading their significant others for. You never know.
Yeah.
But then there's a limit to what you can imagine and think about these things, and at the same time, there is no limit to what. So if the societies exist, do they entertain themselves?
Obviously, entertainment comes natural. Even dolphins play, no?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, recreation and entertainment is. I feel all organisms do it.
Because leisure is something we should pursue.
Yes.
Despite the fact that a lot of people are not able to do that.
Yes, yes.
But then Netflix is our leisure.
Yes.
Like the most popular leisure
Yeah.
people want to chase, and So what kind of entertainment and art you think an alien society would be having? Like, do they paint?
Paint. Let us. If they thought some of the animals to paint, no, like.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of horses and elephants painting paints, like with a brush in their mouth or in their trunks. I've seen that.
Yeah. So.
But why are we comparing animals with aliens?
It is kind of limiting, no?
Yeah.
So.
I am thinking aliens are far superior than us.
Yeah. because the age of the
Painting
universe,
if you're
our
talking about a
galaxy is
painting,
young.
it shouldn't. I'm not saying that it's a conventional painting wherein you are taking a brush and
Uh-huh.
stroking the car, this
Might be 3D
canvas.
painting
Could
also.
be anything.
3D painting, or they might paint in time also. Who knows? Or imagine a fountain. Fountain is also an art piece, no?
Or the kind of auroras we
Uh,
have.
yeah.
If I can put it.
Firecracker
fire-
show.
It's a kind of painting to me.
Yeah.
Because the auroras that we have with the
In the
poles.
in the Olympics, they had drones to make this.
It was
That was
such a delight to watch
that
that.
was nice.
So, entertainment is not limited to art, as in painting, obviously, because we have a painting picture here. That's why we are talking about painting.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
could be movies as well. It could be songs. It could be literature. It could be dance. It could be anything.
Yes, absolutely.
So, if you can imagine aliens dancing,
And it's a form of communication only. If
yes,
you
definitely.
uh,
So, we in India
time
have,
capsule communication.
we in India have so many forms of dance.
Yes,
We
yes.
have Bharatnatyam. We have Kuchipudi. We have Yakshagan. We have Kathak. We have Kathakali. So, do you think there are different dance forms which the aliens follow?
Yeah, yeah. They,
Hip hop. If there is
yes,
a similar society or
Yes,
similar
yes, yes.
civilization, could be anything.
yes, yes.
And what kind of movies do they make?
Who- Shakespeare's tragedies, kind of. Or if they are a space civilization, they must be having festivals also on some planet.
Definitely. Like, yeah, if I don't know what food they eat, but then I'm assuming, basing my imagination on the Steven Spielberg movie Avatar.
Uh,
So
James Cameron.
James Cameron, I'm so sorry. I have very limited knowledge at times. So James Cameron has shown a tribal kind of a nature of those aliens who
Yeah.
live on Pandora.
Yeah.
So if you look at them, they definitely are celebrating festivals.
Mm.
They definitely have their totems. Their what do you say? Their clothing is also their
Mm.
clothing is also quite distinct and different.
Yeah.
So could be a similar thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
possibly. So what do you think? Like, if aliens exist, are they modern enough to travel between two planets? Or,
Yes.
or are they very.
This highly likely
Mhm.
because the age of the universe is quite old. The
Yeah,
universe is
from
quite
what
old.
we know, it's like
Yeah.
13.5 billion
Yeah.
years.
So there must have been a civilization. It might have ended also. Can't say
Mhm.
that fed the galaxy.
What do you think, if there is a different alien civilization, will it be in our own solar system or somewhere far away?
There is a high likelihood that in our galaxy we might find alien life. At the same time, we have not found. That's the hu-
That's why we are doing this. Because there is so much of imagination
Yeah.
running.
Maybe one day this podcast will be transmitted interstellar through
Some alien will
some
listen to this, translate our language into their language,
Yeah, yeah.
either phonetic or non phonetic. You never know. So, coming to the last part of this podcast, what kind of science do you think the aliens must be having? Like, do they even call it a science?
They might be calling it mystic arts or alchemy or something like that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the civilization has to succeed, they have to be disciplined in their scientific approach.
Mm-hmm.
Because science has to be disciplined in order for the civilization to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to be a spacefaring civilization and if they have to harness energy, all that kinds of things, they have to be conduct experiments, interpret results, share their findings, communicate, document. All these things are indispensable to good science.
Do you think they have internet?
Definitely, some kind of this fast communication has to be there for the collective to collaborate.
Mm-hmm. I can only think of them communicating through tree roots, maybe.
like the fungi and
Yeah.
the trees.
Tree roots, or the maybe like what whenever I think about such an alien civilization, a lot of Avatar movies scenes come to my mind. So that's quite obvious because that is the recent movie of on aliens which I have watched. I have watched very limited movies on alien culture and alien life. But then, is there anything else you would like to add to this podcast?
Uh, I would want us to be ambitious in the sense that I would want us to have a long term perspective on things. Like, there are some among us that who think 100 years, 200 years from now, and we should not sacrifice our future in order to have a rosy present.
Mm-hmm.
We, see, the sun is going to expand in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and we today or tomorrow we have to this jump ship to another planet.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no time for caution, in
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Nolan's words.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make the best with our day. We cannot afford to be lazy or complacent in our day-to-day things. Each and every activity of ours should be directed towards a goal, and it is better that the goal is for the collective good rather than for maybe short-term gain or maybe pleasure or something like that way. So whenever we pursue any activity, we should think of the larger implications of it.
So, in short, you mean you don't want the humankind to alienate itself from its own planet?
Yes, yes.
Because the kind of things we have been doing in the last recent past, it's kind of endangering our own existence on this
Yes,
planet.
yes, yes.
And it's coming at the peril of our own planet.
Yes.
So it's not outlandish if I say that in the coming future, maybe in 300, 400 years, we may even cross planets and colonize other planets.
Yes, yes.
But that shouldn't be at the cost of today,
Yes.
in present,
Yes.
is what you would want to
Yes,
add to
yes.
this. So with that note, should we end this podcast?
Yes, and it was nice speaking our minds. I hope you have a good time listening to us and seeing our slideshow. And I'm happy to have this opportunity with my friend Saurabh, and Saurabh would be likewise, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first time we have collaborated on something like this, which is audio visual kind of a thing for us. And it's always a great thing talking to you, Julian.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, Saurabh.
Yeah.
And if you would want us to talk on any topic, please mention in the comments below or get in touch via email. And we would love to oblige you, and it would be our pleasure.
Definitely.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining in. Have a good day.
See you next time.
See you next time.